Good morning, beautiful ladies. How are you this morning? Welcome to Tuesday morning Business Growth Insights, where I come live every single Tuesday and give you some really valuable training that you can take away and implement into your business straight away. And we teach in the areas of mindset, motivation, and marketing. So welcome today. Hope you all managed to have an amazing long weekend. So this will be the second long weekend in a row if you live in Australia. Happy Anzac Day to everybody. And yes, I know that running your own business can sometimes be really interesting. And I wanted to have yesterday off, but my mind went, I don't know that I can justify 3-4 day weeks in a row. So I actually worked yesterday. However, it was a good thing because I love my business so much that I actually really enjoyed it and I got heaps done. So whatever you did yesterday, whether you had a day off or whether you did what I did and worked in your business, I hope you had a great day. Now, just bear with me. Whoops, just making sure that I can see your comments. Good morning to some beautiful ladies who are joining us. So today's training, lovely ladies, we are going to be talking about how to crush the 5 limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck in business. Now, these are the most common limiting beliefs that I see when I'm speaking with ladies about their businesses. These are the most 5 common limiting beliefs that I come across. And you might be sitting there thinking, you know, as I go through them this morning, you might be saying, but I have different limiting beliefs. But I can pretty well guarantee that they're all going to come down in some way, shape or form into these 5 beliefs that I'm going to talk through today. So I'm going to not only, yes, I'm going to address them, and I'm going to talk through with you how you can overcome them and absolutely crush them, right? So let's get going today. So the first one that I hear a lot of people say, and let me say too before I get going this morning, is that I've had every single one of these. Every single one. And you know, sometimes they keep coming back, but what I'm going to talk you through is how to crush them and overcome them. And, you know, the more you learn how to do that, the easier it gets. So the first one is, I don't know enough. Now, let me draw your attention straight to that quote there. Everybody knows something, everybody, right? But nobody knows everything. So in business, we don't need to know everything, right? But something that we say to ourselves often is that I don't know enough to be able to put myself out there in business. So here's some questions, ladies, that I want you to ask yourself. So the first one is, what drew you to start your business in the first place? Everyone started in the business that you're in for a reason, right? Something drew you to your business, something drew you to start it, and most likely, right, I don't want to give assumptions, but most likely it was that you either maybe had training, some kind of training in a specific area which you enjoyed, or that you knew that you had the ability to learn to be able to implement that into a business, to learn it and then implement it into a business, right? So I started as a virtual assistant a couple of years ago, and yes, what am I trying to say? So I started a business, something drew me to it because I believed that I knew enough in admin. My background was admin and administration and customer service, right? But I also knew that I could learn what I needed to learn to be able to start the business. So what drew you to start this business? And whatever did draw you to start your business, hang on to it, right? Now, also, there's a deeper meaning. Most of the time, there's a much deeper meaning. Good morning, Claire. How are you, lovely lady? Most of the time, there is a deeper meaning into why you have started your business. So think about, what is your story behind starting your business, right? And my story, I've got so many different stories to my business journey, But what I'm recognizing now is that I think the biggest part of my story and my why that I'm in the business that I'm in now is because way back, way back 20 years ago, when I became a single mum, I left a domestically violent relationship, and I had a 6 and a 7-year-old, and I had to feed them, clothe them, house them, and put them through private school. So not having an income, I had to figure out how to do that, right? So my why now is that I want to help women create their own income in their own businesses. So that's a huge why. Whether you're a single mum, for whatever reason you're starting a business, I want to help you create an income and bring that into your life. So that's my why. So when I get to when we get to the thought of I just don't know enough, we just go, well, why am I in this? And what drew me to start it in the first place? Because that alone says that you know something. So you do know enough. You actually know more than enough. Good morning, beautiful Sam. How are you, lovely? What do you have that you can use now? All of us, every single one of us, have skills that we can draw upon right now. And so many times I see people holding back on starting their businesses or putting themselves out there on social media, for instance, until they've maybe got that particular certificate, they've finished studying that modality, or they've finished that course or whatever. And let me just say, honestly, and I've done that too. If we all did that, if we all kept doing that, if we kept waiting until we finished one course before putting ourselves out there, I actually don't think that anyone would be in business right now. And the reason I say that is because just like life in general, business is a constant learning journey. We're all learning, always learning new skills in business. So knowing that, when you sit back and you think, I don't know enough, I can guarantee you again that you do, because we all have something, some kind of skill that we can draw upon now. And of course, yes, you can absolutely add skills as you go, right? And while we don't need them to begin with, as you go into your business, as you take action in your business, right, your confidence is going to grow in your business. And also, as you can still be running a business and you can be studying. It's a good thing to do that. This is actually something that I did last year, in fact, right? And again, I think a lot of you know the story that I was started as a personal coach when I started my coaching business. And while that was awesome, I knew that eventually I wanted to transition into business coaching. So while I was getting experience as a personal coach, which was awesome, I was learning on the job as I went and getting better at it. I was also studying in the background to certify as a business coach, which I did. So now I've been able to bring both of those together, and it's really awesome because now, like I said, I do personal and business coaching now, and what I've learnt, what I've studied, is all come into one. So I'm now living that dream that I had from 20 years ago. And so this is what I want to encourage you all, is that no matter what, you all have some skills that you are able to begin with, right? And again, go back to those top 2 questions. What drew you to start your business in the first place, and why? What's your why? So number 2, people say a lot of the time, I don't think my product or my service is good enough. So again, people don't buy what you sell, they buy what you believe. So why did you choose this particular product or service? And again, I'm pretty sure that you chose it for a certain reason, right? If it's a product, it's most likely because it's something that you tried yourself, you liked it, you believe in it, or it might be something that you've created because you have that skill to be able to create an amazing product that you truly and fully believe in. If it's a service, it might be like a similar thing. Or if you are providing a certain service, it might be because you have a heart to provide that particular service, or you've used, so for instance, if you've become a coach, you might, it might be because you have hired a coach and you want to provide that service as well. And of course, there's coaches everywhere out there for all different kinds of areas. For me, again, why did I choose this particular service? Because of that 20-year-old dream. And mine always goes back to that dream of wanting to help women. Would you buy it? Ask yourself this: if you would buy your product or service or pay for your service and you would love it, then so will other people. So stop telling yourself that it isn't good enough, because it is, right? It's just a matter of learning to talk about and present your product or present your service in the right way that make people, that draw people to you and make people want to buy from you, right? And this is what I teach the ladies in the Heart and Soul Business Academy. We really unpack what people's product and service, what the ladies' products and services are. And, we really go deep into, well, would you buy it? And also a little bit deeper, we go into, well, how much would you pay? So think about this. If you wouldn't pay what you're charging for your product or service, then maybe you might either be charging too much or too little, right? There's kind of like a sweet spot. And sometimes it takes us a little while to get there, and that's quite okay, because again, it's a learning journey, right? But as long as you get to this point where you truly believe in your price and your product or your service, right, then the right people are going to be drawn to you. But if you're sitting there and you're thinking, say for instance, if you have a product that you know is worth $50 and you're selling it for $35, it's probably in the back of your mind, you're thinking, well, I know this is worth a shit ton more, but I'm only charging $35 because I don't think people are going to pay the $50 that I think it's worth, right? Now, when you do that, it's going to come across. You're going to maybe, subconsciously start to resent that you're charging so little, and that's going to come across subconsciously when you're putting that out there. On the other side of that, you might have this $50 product that you're charging $70 for, and you're actually thinking, well, yeah, it's an awesome product, but I don't actually think I'd pay $70 for that. I would probably be more happy paying $50 for it. But sometimes we think, oh, I'll charge $70 because I'll get more profit, which is awesome. And we might make a few sales, but you would make more sales if you took it down to a price that you're very comfortable in charging. So if you are comfortable at that sweet spot of $50, as long as you're making a profit, that's what you charge, right? And the right people will become your clients. I actually did this. So when I started in coaching, I started at a very low price of $50 an hour when I started my personal coaching. And the reason I did that is because I didn't fit, because I was new, right? And I didn't have a lot of experience in personal coaching, but B, I didn't feel comfortable charging any more than that because I hadn't had that experience. As my experience grew, my confidence grew, so I was able to raise my prices as I went gradually. And, it got to a point where every time I raised my prices, I would ask myself, would I buy my services at this price? And if it was a yes, then it would be awesome. It's time to raise my prices. So there's some really in-depth questions to ask yourself. And again, in the Heart and Soul Business Academy, we really unpack this and what you charge for your products and services as well. Number 3 is I'm not techie enough. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like this poor woman when I'm trying to set up tech, right? This is an excuse that I used a lot. And I'm just going to pause her. because I'll pause her in a minute. But this is an excuse that I used an awful lot in my business to stop myself from putting myself out there, right? And so I used to say to myself, I have to have that website set up. You know, I have to have a beautiful looking website. I have to have all my automation set up. I have to have a booking link. You know, I've got to have everything set up professional, just like that person over there. Otherwise, people aren't going to want to come and work with me because I'm unprofessional. Because my tech's not set up, I would come across as unprofessional. And so it stopped me from going into my business for, well, about a year and a half, honestly. But when my coach would teach me, and she'd say, look, you don't need to have all that techie stuff. You know, you can just start with what you've got access to right now. And it was kind of like, oh, okay. And so give me a little bit of thought. What do you have access to right now? So this leads me to the Flintstone style. Something that she taught me and something I teach my students is the Flintstone style. Use the Flintstone style when you get started, right? Take it back to basics. What do you have access to, right? Literally working with what you have access to now. If you don't have access to all the techie stuff or you don't know how to do it, it's okay. Just use what you've got. And, you know, look, honestly, we have some automation set up. We're getting, as I'm growing, we're getting more automation set up, but we still do a lot of Flintstone style stuff. And that's where we're at. And I'm actually quite comfortable with that at the moment. Let me just, stop our young lady there. There we go. I don't know about you, but she's distracting me. And like I said, most businesses, the majority of businesses, unless you've got a big budget to start your business, don't start with all the tech set up, right? Small/micro businesses, we don't need all the tech set up, right? It's adding as you're going. I think I might be about to graduate from Flintstone style. Yes, beautiful. See, yeah, exactly. Claire is part of our academy, and she's going great guns in the Heart and Soul Business Academy. It's amazing, Claire. It's great watching your progress, gorgeous. So adding things as you go. And as I said, I've been in business for 2.5 in this particular business for almost 2.5 years now, and we're adding tech every day. Right, and actually yesterday we added some beautiful, I was so proud of ourselves, me and my virtual assistant, we added some automation and we tested it and it worked. And, you know, I'm not naturally a techie person, but we got it working. Between the two of us, we worked together, we got it working, we were so proud of ourselves. And so that's one less thing now that we have to do Flintstone style. But, you know, and my brain wants to have it all set up like that. But it's adding it gradually because, you know, we don't need it all happening at once. So what do you need now? It's again, you know, what do you need now? What can you add later? Number 4 is everyone will laugh at me if I make a mistake. Or what if I make a mistake? I'm going to look like an idiot is something else. Now, this was a big one for me personally. Recovering myself from, you know, anxiety, PTSD and depression, this was huge for me. Having come from a workplace bullying situation, I really did not want people to laugh at me. And so if I felt that if I made a mistake, it was going to be the worst thing on earth. However, what I have since learned is that reality and authenticity are the key, right? This is the key to what people want. People don't want perfection. They don't. If you stuff up like I do all the time, right? It's real life, and people go, oh, I can actually relate to her because she stuffs up, you know, sometimes. And I've done it in these trainings before where I have been giving a point and then I've completely lost my train of thought, right? I do it all the time. But people can go, oh, yeah, you know, like, and most of the time, I don't know about you, but when I stuff up, people just go, that's okay. I do that all the time. So they will learn, kind of like authenticity. People know when it's authentic. Now, also, most of the time when you do stuff up, like if it's a big mistake, most of the time if you do stuff up, you're probably the only one who knows that you've done it, right? Because, again, let's look at reality. Reality is that others are so focused either on themselves, not in a selfish way, but they're focused on themselves or what they're learning from you, right? Or what they're learning, what they're doing in their own businesses, that they don't care. They just go, oh yeah, okay, whatever, she stuffed up, that's okay. Most of the time, people just don't even realise that you even made a mistake. Sometimes, yes, you'll have to go and, tell someone that you made a mistake, and that's okay. But, most of the time people will go, well, thank you, I appreciate that you've said that. But when you're on social media, most of the time, if you stuff up, people aren't really even taking that much notice. And that sounds ironic, but it is true. Now, ask yourself this too. What's the worst that can happen? If you stuff up, for instance, if you're doing a Facebook Live and if you stuff up, what's the worst that can happen? You correct yourself. When I was running a podcast, I started a podcast in 2019. It was called the Purple Warriors Podcast, and it was all about supporting women who have survived domestic violence. And when I was editing this podcast, it's another techie skill I learned, was how to edit a podcast. See, learned the skill. Anyway, but I used to think that when I was editing this podcast, I used to have to get rid of every little I used to think that I couldn't have a pause in there because it sounded like I was thinking too much. So I was an absolute perfectionist when it came to editing this podcast, right? I would think that people didn't know what I was talking about. I was thinking that it would sound silly. But honestly, when I listened back to the episodes as they progressed, it got to the point where it's like, I stuffed up. If I stumbled my words, I used to think it would be the worst thing on earth. So I used to have to correct them and have them come out perfectly. But, on the other side of that, people don't want robots. Let's go back to the top point there. People want real people. They want authenticity, reality. This is how people speak. I speak with my ums and ahs. That's what actually helps me think. And I know a lot of people who do that as well. So when I go to follow people on social media, I don't want perfection. I don't mind if they say and ah, because to me it means they're thinking about what they're saying and it's authentic. And also, if you do make a mistake, well, again, everything can be corrected. When I used to train, when I first started doing live trainings on social media, and this wasn't in this business, this is quite a while ago, I used to have notes, I've got notes now, right? But I used to have my little, my Word document notes, and I'd be looking into the camera, and I would be really scared that people would know when I was looking down at my notes. So I'd quickly look at my notes and I'd look up again. And I swear when I watch these trainings back, and I don't watch them anymore, but when I watch them back now, I was legit like a deer in the headlights. Because I was like, I've got to keep looking at the camera. I can't look at my notes. Oh my God, there we go. And I'd look up again. And I don't actually know if anything that I said made sense. But anyway, that was way back then. But, I don't know about you, but when I watch trainings, I don't want perfection. I don't care if people say and ah. And if they do, if they make a mistake or if they stumble over their words, if I stumble over my words, if you do, what's the worst that can happen? You just correct yourself. It's called normal conversation. And lastly, if you can learn to laugh at yourself, others will laugh with you, right? There is, ladies, an absolute freedom in learning to laugh at yourself and having people laugh with you. I did a live on my page I don't know, I think it was last week. I don't know when it was. And I was I was laughing at something funny that had happened, funny that I had done that had happened over the weekend, and I'd had this big epiphany. And as I was telling the story, I'm just going, this is like ridiculous, and it's really funny. And I was just laughing at myself. And people enjoyed the fact that I was laughing at myself, that I was showing a sense of humor. And just like I did just then, laughing at myself and when I first used to do training. There is such a freedom when you can do that. Now, yes, it might take a while to get there, and that's okay. And again, this is why I teach so much in the Heart and Soul Business Academy on confidence, on mindset, because when you can learn to just be yourself within your heart, just dive right in, exactly, Claire, that is when people will relate to you. That is when people want to know more about you, more about your products, more about your services. Now, this one here, it's too hard, I need to quit. This is a really significant one. And look, this was me literally well, it was me mid-year last year. I was just like, I can't do it anymore. My head was against the wall, and I was just, sinking into a puddle on the floor. And I think that in business, we can all get to that stage we all do at some stage, because it is it is a big thing to run your own business. But every time I felt like this is what I did. I kept coming back to my why, right? So what I want you to ask yourself is, what is your heart's desire? What is your dream, right? Why did you start this business? There's a reason for it, right? My why was that I kept going back to my dream, my heart's desire of helping women who had experienced similar stuff to me, right? So what I worked at, it was almost like I had to go through, and I think this is pertinent for you as well in your business. I believe that we all at some stage need to go through this scenario or these emotions, because what it does is it brings us back to basics. And so what I personally worked out when I did this was that what I was doing then, although I was doing the personal coaching and loving it, and loving that I was getting to help the beautiful ladies I was helping, deep down it wasn't exactly my heart's desire. It was on the path to it, right? But I loved what I was doing, but there could have been more to what I was doing. So that was when I was at this point, it was like, okay, what do I need to change to be able to love what I'm doing, to be able to come back to loving what I'm doing and, building myself up again. And that's when I realized that, hang on a minute, it's time for me to transition from personal to business coaching. And when I did that, right, I recognized my heart's desire, everything clicked into place, right? So now what I love is I actually get to combine the two. I love my personal coaching, I love teaching mindset, but I love teaching business as well. So I literally combine the two, and I've never looked back. Claire, she loves the Heart and Soul Business Academy. Sam, who logged on, she's an academy student too. She loves it. So something else to ask yourself is, are you taking consistent action? If not, you need to be, right? When you feel this is when we get to this place of feeling like we can't do it anymore and feeling like we want to quit, where we stop taking the action. This is the part where we actually need to be taking a lot more action, consistent action. Even though you feel like quitting, you need to keep going, right? And how do you keep going? What is the support network you have around you, right? You've probably all heard the saying, you are the sum of the 5 people closest to you. So ask yourself, is your network, are the people around you supportive of your vision? Are they supportive of your business? If not, well, either have a chat to them, right? Or you might need to get find different people in your inner circle who are going to be supportive. We all need a supportive network. And that is they're going to be able to help keep you accountable and help you take that consistent action, particularly when you're feeling down. And, you know, lastly, look, doing it alone, running a business alone is hard. Let's be honest, it's a hard slog. And this is something that it took me a long time to learn, is that we don't have to do it alone. There are people out there in all areas who want to support you. We're here to support you. So find the right support that suits your needs at the time, right? When I hired my business coach, I've never looked back, because she was what I needed at the time. And I've never looked back, you know, and that was 2 odd years ago. It was over 2 years ago now. And so, you know, are you looking for that support? If you're looking for that support, if it is a business coach that you need, or if it's mindset coaching, well, maybe, right, I'm the lady that can help you. Maybe I'm the lady that can give you support that you need right now. So if you want to talk further with me, I've spoken a little bit about the Heart and Soul Business Academy. We've opened registrations for our second intake for the year. It's open now. So if you want to get support, talk about where you're at now, come and book a business booster call with me. If you would like to have a chat, pop the word support in the comments. Come and have a chat with me. We'll talk about where you're at now. We'll have a look at some of your social media and see where you can make improvements right then and there. And yes, we'll talk about the Heart and Soul Business Academy and whether it's something that, you know, whether it's the type of support that you're looking for. So again, put support in the comments if you would like to come and book in a chat. I would absolutely love to have a talk to you. I talk to some fantastic ladies in these business booster calls. So much fun. And so, ladies, I hope that you have now got some clarity around the 5 biggest limiting beliefs that I hear about, and, you know, some ways in that you can absolutely crush them. You can go, you know what, that's okay. I don't need to believe that anymore. So I just want to leave you with this. I know that every single one of you ladies has what it takes to make an amazing, amazing success of your business and yourself. If you would like that support, let me know in the comments, ladies. All right, wishing you a fantastic week ahead, and I will see you again in the group really soon. All right, everybody. I will see you later. Bye-bye.